What's up guys, Peter here from Reviews on Anything, and today we're doing an installation video. More specifically an installation of this Evoplus dashcam. Now you can probably tell already that this is a mirror, a rear view mirror to be precise, so this is an over the mirror style dashcam with the lens here on this side sticking out on one side of the mirror, filming through your windscreen. Now it can be a bit tricky to install a dashcam like this, so I'm going to take you through the whole process step by step and show you how it's done and how you make sure all the wires get tucked in nicely and install this in your car. So let's get it going. Alright, so let's see what you get in the box. First of all, we have the unit itself. That's pretty self-explanatory, I think. We got the micro SD storage card, 16 gigs, that's included, which is very nice. Obviously you need to put that in and then you can save your recordings. We got some rubber straps to attach it to your mirror. Then we have the rear view camera unit. And last but not least is the power cord that goes into your 12-volt socket. Now obviously this mirror is going to be installed on my existing rear view mirror. So let's get right into it and see how that's done. Alright, to make sure that you can actually see what I'm doing, I've zoomed it in firmly on the rear view camera. Because you don't really want to see me talking, you want to see how this is installed. So let's get to it. Here we have the unit, and there is some flexible hooks on the back that you hook the rubber straps into. First on the top, pull it tight, and the same thing on the other side. And then really all you do is just place it over your mirror. Make sure the hooks come out on the other side. And then you just pull the rubber strap. They're nice and flexible, so don't be afraid to pull. Pull it around and hook it in the bottom hook. Make sure it is locked in. Also on the other side. And that's it. Unit installed. It is actually that easy. There's nothing really more to it. You have to make sure that you adjust it slightly so the lens goes around, obviously. And that's really it. So you strap it on and that's it. Obviously you got to angle it in such a way that you now can see out of the back again. But that's a given. This is really all the installation that is required as far as the unit goes. Now we're going to get to the slightly trickier part though, and that is installing the wiring. Alright, so the next step is cabling. As you can see, the unit is hanging, so it's going to need some power. That's done with this mini USB to 12-volt plug, as I'm sure you're familiar with. You're not sacrificing your connection because there's still a USB outlet. That's actually quite a nice touch from Evoplus, so you can still charge your phone from it if you want to. It's going to be slightly tricky to do this, so make sure you take your time to do it right, because you can clearly just plug it in and have a wire hanging all over your dashboard, which is not very nice. It's supposed to be tucked away nicely in your roof lining and so on. Make sure you take a bit of time laying out the cabling first before you get going. I initially wanted to do it in the middle of my car. I have another socket there, but after laying it out roughly, I realized that wouldn't fit. So to save yourself a lot of time, do it that way. Lay it out roughly through your car first, so you know what's going to fit where and what isn't going to fit. This is again going to be slightly tricky because we're confined with space, but bear with me. We're going to make sure the cables are tucked away nicely and that the unit gets nice power. Alright, as you can see, my 12-volt socket is located here in the middle console. So the approach that I'm going to be taking is to run it along the footwell, down there, and up on the side, all along the pillar, and then along the roof lining, all the way here to the unit itself. It's not too difficult, but it's a bit of a fiddle, so let's go and see how it's done. Alright, so I'll roughly lay out the cable, measure it out. Like I know it's going to go right here, then down here, and then down here. So that gives me a bit of an idea of the length of cable that I'm going to use. Now I'm going to start by plugging it in into the power socket. Right there. And then it's just a matter of tucking everything into the lining of your car. Now don't worry, you're not going to break anything. It's not a perfect seal or anything. There's always a little bit of room also for maintenance and so on. So don't worry about it. You pretty much just start stuffing the wire where it needs to go. You could use something like a butter knife or maybe a spoon even to get this done right. But you should be alright with just using your hands. Now, as you can see, I can tuck it away pretty much fully You might need to push it in and out a little bit, but you know. Apply a bit of force. Make sure nothing falls out. Oops, okay. And then you got it nicely tucked away over here. Alright, so that's done. As you can see, I got the wire tucked in very nicely along the liner. Then down the pillar, around here, around the outside, underneath the dashboard, around the footwell, and I got a little bit of extra cable that I stuffed in. This was quite handy, and then here is the plug in the end where it ends up. That is really all there is to it. Like I said, you're going to take a few minutes to do this properly. Maybe use you know, the end of a spoon or a butter knife to stuff it in really well, but effectively you should be able to do it with your hands. Obviously it's not obligated to do it this way, you know, you can just have the wire running from here to there, but that's not very convenient and it doesn't look very nice. And this way it's not obtrusive at all, it doesn't get in the way, it's nicely out of sight, and it's much more practical because you don't have any loose wires laying around. Now all there's left for me to do is to plug this in and out, because my 12-volt sockets are actually permanently powered. So make sure you check if yours actually go on and off with your ignition. Mine are always on, so I have to physically remove this and put it back in. You know, but that's a small little thing, and obviously you can't blame Evoplus for that. All right, so here we are with the rear camera unit. There's a few important things to cover here. I'm not gonna fully lay it out for you, but it's the same process as with the front camera. You stuff everything into the headliner, under your seat, under the floorboards, and behind the back seats, and that's really all there is to it. But there's a few things that are important. First of all, this is the rear view unit, which you can tell is pretty tiny, but it's supposed to be mounted like this with the mounting bracket up. Otherwise your image will be upside down and you have to, you know, reverse it in your editing software or anything. This is the way it's supposed to be used. Then we have this bit of red cabling right here. This is used to hardwire the camera into your reversing lights if you want them to work and react with those. It's not strictly speaking necessary because the camera gets power from the front unit, so it also works without it, and it's a bit of a job to put it, to hardwire it in that wire of your reversing lights. So if you're handy enough, you can do it yourself, obviously, otherwise you have to ask some kind of workshop to do it for you, but it's not strictly speaking necessary. Then there's the cable itself, which is nice and long, as you can see, and we got the end here that plugs into your front unit. Now obviously it's important that you plug this in order to get power and to get the data feed in. You get 2 video files if you install this, so you get an A for the front and a B for the rear that are actually timed together. So you can, if you use some kind of editing software, you can place them into each other. Now the process of installing this rear camera is exactly the same as the front. You locate the spot where you want it and you roughly lay out the wires to see if it fits. In my case, I had to slightly rearrange the camera position because I have a very large car, but you know, that's what the whole laying out is for. Once it's done, you just make sure you run the cable under your seats, under your floorboards, maybe behind the back seats and so on. And then again, the same spot along the roof lining and the pillar to make the cable end at the front unit and to plug it in there. And that's really all there is to it. That's the installation. You have to obviously go into the menu and the setup of the camera in order to set your preferences, if you want the lane guidance, the parking warning, the G-sensor sensitivity and so on. But that's, you know, pretty self-explanatory, just going through the menu and setting it up the way you want it. And then it's pretty much fire and forget. The camera does its job and hopefully you'll never use it. But when you do, you pop out the memory card, you plug it into your computer with the included USB adapter, and you have the images right there for you. So that was a quick installation guide almost, just to show you how it's generally done. Hope you guys found it helpful and enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!